Hi, my name is Jonas. My roles at Yes are video production for communication and providing IT support. In this video, I will show you how to present slides and play videos in Teams. A Teams meeting can be joined from a PC or a mobile device. On mobile devices, you need to have the Teams app installed. On PC, you have the option between using the web app in the browser or installing the Teams app. For presenting, we strongly recommend using a PC with the app installed, as you will have access to all the features that Teams has to offer. If you have any sound in your presentation, like from a video, you will need to use a Windows device. At the time of this recording, the Windows Teams app is the only one that can include your computer's audio. If you do not have the Teams app installed yet, you can download the latest version by going to this web address. You can also find the link in the description of this video. Okay, let's dive in. I'm using a Windows device and have installed the Teams app. To be able to use the app, you'll need to log in with a Microsoft account. Once logged in, you can navigate straight to the Calendar tab and click on a scheduled meeting to join. If you do not see your meeting here, we probably sent the meeting invite to a different email address as the one you logged into Teams with. You will have to join your meeting by clicking the link in the invite you received from us on this other account, or you can use the event schedule PDF you received that also has clickable links to join the different scheduled Teams meetings. The link opens in the browser, where you can then choose to open the meeting in the Teams app. A Teams meeting lives in its own window. Before entering the meeting, you get to double check your microphone and camera selection and can choose to join the meeting with them on or off. Once you join the meeting, you will be greeted by the other participants. For participants who have their camera disabled, you will see their picture or a circle with their initials. You can find all the meeting controls at the top. The first button brings up an overview of all participants in the meeting. You can pin, spotlight, mute, or remove someone, or in case they are not in the meeting yet, request someone to join. The second button shows the chat. I think we all know how this works, so I will move on to the next feature. The third button is the raise hand button. As a presenter, you most likely won't be using it, but your participants can activate it when they have a question for you. You can also look at the list of participants to see if anyone raised their hand. Thanks to this feature, participants don't need to interrupt you verbally, and it's especially useful during a Q&A session where multiple questions could come all at once. With this feature, you can simply work your way through the list of participants until all hands are down. Keep an eye on the participants list during your presentation so you don't miss any questions, and definitely have a quick look at it at the end of each section before moving on to the next topic. A participant can lower their hand by clicking the button again, or you can lower it for them via the More Options menu next to their name in the participants list. Going back to the control bar. The next button will open a drop-down menu with more options. The only one I would point your attention to here is device settings. You might need to come here to change which audio output device Teams is using, and you can double check the audio input device and make sure your microphone is selected. Important to know is that there is no way to set your gain for the microphone. Teams constantly adjusts the gain automatically for you. If other people can't hear you well, your microphone might not be sensitive enough, even at the maximum gain. You can try moving the microphone closer to your mouth, but if this doesn't help much, you'll have to switch to a different microphone, or a different device altogether if no other microphones are available. Further on the topic of audio, make sure to wear headphones. Teams does have echo cancellation audio processing, which will try to cut out the audio from your speakers that is being picked up by your microphone, but it's not perfect, and the less processing that happens, the better the audio quality will be. Using headphones means this processing step doesn't need to happen, resulting in clearer, more natural sounding audio. The audio part is by far the most important, so make sure your headphones and microphone are working properly. We're happy to make a quick test call with you to check this beforehand. In the second half of the meeting controls bar, we find two mute switches, one for your camera and one for your microphone. As a presenter, you should have your camera and microphone on pretty much the whole time, so the participants can always see and hear you. You should also encourage them to turn on their camera as well. Seeing each other drives engagement. It's less likely someone will get distracted and start doing other things when they have their camera on and they know they're being seen. And maybe most important, you won't feel like you're talking to yourself. Your participants, however, should have their microphones muted whenever not speaking. Background noises can be very disruptive to your presentation. So at the start of your presentation, remind everyone to mute their microphones and that they can raise their hand if they have a question. They can then unmute their microphone when you give them the word. In case someone forgot to mute their microphone, you can ask them to turn it off or simply mute the participant from the participants list. To conclude our overview of this user interface, next to the mute switches, we find a share content button, the main topic of this video. So let's actually go through sharing some content. We'll start with a PowerPoint presentation. I always make sure I have the content I want to share saved locally on my desktop. This way I can easily get to it at any point by holding down the Windows key and pressing letter D. I double click the file to open it and enter presentation mode by pressing F5. Depending on your device, you might also have to hold down the function key marked typically with Fn. I now switch back to Teams by holding down Alt and pressing the Tab key. This brings up the app switcher. It shows you all the apps that are currently running. Keep holding down the Alt key and hit Tab repeatedly until the Teams meeting is selected and then let go of the Alt key. We're now back in Teams. Click the Share Content button. Another section opens up on the bottom of the screen. Here you find 4 options: Desktop, Window, PowerPoint, and Whiteboard. We recommend using the Desktop option, sharing your entire screen. It's not the cleanest way, and you should make sure to, for example, close your email app, maybe change your desktop wallpaper if it's a personal one, clean up the items on your desktop, and close any other window containing potentially sensitive data before sharing your screen. Of course, do this before the meeting. It requires some work, but it's by far the easiest and most reliable content sharing option to use. You know exactly what everyone else is seeing, everything that you see, so there is no guessing if it's working or not. If you have the option to work with a second monitor, it gets even easier and will look more professional. This could be a dedicated computer monitor, but could also be your television, for example. Most likely the only thing you need is a simple HDMI cable, which you probably already have somewhere at home, or you could purchase pretty inexpensively. Once connected, you should make sure that the second display is set to extend your desktop, instead of the default duplicate. The quickest way to do this is by holding down the Windows key on your keyboard and pressing the letter P repeatedly until the right setting is selected. In Teams, the second monitor now becomes available. Share it instead of the primary monitor, and you can just drag over whatever you want to show your audience. With a second monitor connected, you also unlock the presenter view during a presentation in PowerPoint, allowing you to see your notes, which slide is next, and so on. You can also dock the presenter view on one side of the screen and have the Teams meeting on the other. That way you can keep an eye on the audience during your presentation. If you have any audio in your presentation, like from a video, you can turn on the Include Computer Sound switch. It's top left of the Share Content pane. If you forgot to enable computer sound or only want to turn it on during a specific part of the presentation, you can also turn on and off the computer sound while your screen is already being shared. You need to move your mouse all the way up to the top edge of the screen for sharing controls to appear, and can then toggle it on or off with this button. I honestly like to avoid doing it this way, so my audience doesn't need to see me enable it. Also be aware that this does transmit all sound from your computer, including any notification sounds, so make sure that any application that could produce unwanted sounds is closed. Also remember to mute your mic during video playback to avoid interrupting the video with unwanted noises. Our PowerPoint presentation has a video embedded on slide number 2, which is set to play full screen in the click sequence. So, with a single screen, I open the presentation like before, share my screen including computer sound, and I start presenting. I can move to the next slide by using the right arrow key on my keyboard. Just before we play the video, I want to mute my microphone. I press the right arrow key to start playing the video.
Ich habe durch das Programm gemerkt, ich will eigentlich, bevor ich studiere, Berufserfahrung sammeln. Und habe mal gefragt, wie sieht das aus mit den Praktika? Gibt es überhaupt ein Praktikum, das man machen kann, ohne irgendeinen Abschluss? Also ich habe ja eigentlich nur mit Matur gemacht. Und dann hat er mir gesagt, wir haben hier ein super Programm, das genau für so Leute sind wie du.
Once the video is over, we press Alt-Tab again, so we can unmute our microphone and can continue our presentation. With the dual screen setup, the whole process is much simpler. I dock my presenter view on one side and the Teams meeting on the other. I have access to everything that I need, and the view for the audience stays the same the whole time.
Ich habe durch das Programm gemerkt, ich will eigentlich, bevor ich studiere, Berufserfahrung sammeln.
Now, what if I just want to play a video by itself? The default video player in Windows is Movies and TV, and that one works great for most video files. We just open our video, it does start playing automatically, so we need to click pause, then click the skip back button to set the playhead back to the beginning, switch it to full screen mode, and then click the middle of the window so all the trim disappears. With Alt-Tab, we can then go back to Teams, mute our mic, and share our screen with audio enabled. We navigate back to our full screen video, and by hitting the spacebar, we can start playback.
Ich habe durch jedes Programm gemerkt, ich will
At the end of the video, the player exits full screen mode, and we can then stop sharing our screen. We unmute our microphone and can continue the conversation. Doing the same thing with a dual monitor setup is again significantly easier. After opening and resetting the video, we simply drag it over to the second monitor. We switch it to full screen mode, then click in the middle of the screen to hide the trim. We then move back to our primary monitor with the Teams window, where we can mute our microphone and share the second screen with audio enabled. It will show the desktop first, but we can simply click on Movies and TV in the taskbar to bring back the full screen video, and then we hit spacebar to start it.
Ich habe durch jedes Programm gemerkt, ich will eigentlich, bevor ich studieren, Berufserfahrung sammeln.
When the video has ended, we can stop sharing and unmute our microphone from the primary monitor. I think that's all I can say about screen sharing. I hope you found this video informative and that it prepared you for your upcoming presentations. Don't hesitate to reach out if you still have questions after watching this video. I wish you good luck and a pleasant rest of your day.